So, man, NBA summer has been crazy, and it's not over with yet. It's July. We still got a month and so left. Haven't had you on in a minute, so just talk about the NBA summer, your thoughts on everything, and then do you think there's any more trades that we could see before the summer's over with?
You're right. It's been a crazy summer. I mean, it started end of June. That's when it all started. It started with the trade with the Pelicans and the Lakers, Anthony Davis for Ingram and Lonzo Ball. Part of that deal. That started the dominoes to fall. So when AD got traded, we're like, okay, what's next? So then free agency started, or the draft, then you had free agency. And then free agency was ridiculously very good. Definitely different. We waited for Kawhi. They call it the July 4th of Kawhi or whatever, Independence Kawhi, whatever they called it.
Right.
But he did a very smart move. He waited to everybody everybody signed, Kevin Durant and Kemba Walker, Kyrie, Clay. He waited to the right time, and little did we know he was behind the scenes doing like LeBron does. He was playing his cards. He was like, okay, I'm going to the Lakers. There was reports of him going to the Lakers. There was reports of him to staying in Toronto. There was reports of him going to the Clippers. Little did we know that Paul George was part of this whole deal. And so all that mixing and that negotiating and stuff behind the scenes, Kawhi was pulling all the strings. I mean, he might be the new puppet master. I gotta maybe stop saying that LeBron's a puppet master. Maybe he's the new puppet master. So, I mean, it was all in all, I thought it was a great summer. And then we had Russell Westbrook get traded for Chris Paul. We didn't think they were those two big contracts, $40 million a year. They were going to get traded. They get traded for each other. So it was a great summer for the NBA, and I think now we have to say the NBA is a 24/7, 365 league.
Facts, true. It used to be where when the season was over with, when the playoffs were over with, we would say, "Oh man, we don't have anything to talk about as far as basketball." Well, that's over with because there has been something pretty much every week that has happened, that has either happened or that has went down. And it brings excitement to a sport that technically is over. There's nobody playing basketball. There's Big Three playing, right, but that's not NBA. So they have done a great job at the players and the league, GMs, everyone at signing people when they sign them. Which I don't think it's orchestrated, but I will say they have made people pay more attention to basketball in the off season than what has happened in the past. So, shout out to the NBA. It's good for the league. I love the NBA. I love the NBA actually number one always. I love the NFL. I've always been NBA, and now with the Warriors, I'm not gonna sleep on the Warriors. I think them getting D'Angelo Russell and then Clay come back. I know they talk about there's been rumors about him, flipping D'Angelo Russell, but I like that was a good move for them. And and Steve Kerr can unlock those guards. He unlocks Curry and Clay to who they are right now. And then D'Angelo Russell is young. He's probably hungry. He's ready to roll. He's getting his money. He was an All-Star last year, so I like Golden State. I don't know if they're gonna win it, but when Clay comes back, if he's healthy, I'm not gonna sleep on the Warriors. But it does bring more parity to the league now that the Warriors, because now the Warriors are not even the favorites. The last 5 years, they've been the favorites. They were the favorites every year. Now you got the Clippers, you got the Lakers, you got Philly, Milwaukee. I mean, there's so many teams. Denver, Utah, Portland. I mean, there's so many great teams now, and that's good. Now it's going to the talent is spread out more, which I know a lot of people love. So I'm all in. Yeah. It is going to be must watch TV, especially in the Western Conference, with all of the additions that they made. Jimmy Butler going to Miami. There's players in so many different places that you almost have to go to the ESPN or go to a website
to see where people are, what the lineup's going to be. I've paid
Right.
more attention to lineups during the off season than I ever have, because you want to see who's going to match up, who's going to go where. But it's must watch TV even in the off season. So we got a big fight coming up tonight. We got Pacquiao versus Thurman. Pacquiao, 40 years old now. Thurman, kind of the young buck, I guess you could say, but he's actually, I believe he's 30 himself, so he's not really that young. But I'm thinking that this is going to be somewhat of a passing of the torch, because in my opinion, I think Thurman is going to win. He's didn't have that great of a fight. I know his last fight, a lot of boxing experts or just people in general talking about that. But give me your breakdown. Pacquiao, Thurman going down, MGM Grand. So they kind of got an old school spot where they having the fight. But let me know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, this is going to be a good fight. I really believe this is one of those 50-50 fights, because you don't know what you're going to get with Pacquiao at this stage. As you pointed out, he's 40 years old, and there are a lot of times he looks 40 years old. He looks like he's been in a lot of fights. I mean, I know he's got over 60-something. He's 61-7, 61-7-2, 39 knockouts. He's been knocked out. Been knocked out cold before. But he's come a long way from that knockout. I think Pacquiao still has a little bit left in the tank. He still has the hand speed. He still has, the angles. He still come at you in a lot of different ways, and I think that's his advantage anytime he steps into the ring. Now, for Thurman, he's younger. As you said, he's 29, 30 years old. He's undefeated. He brings a lot of power, and they call it one time because he has that one-time knockout power. He does have that. But I think with Thurman, I think that 2-year layoff, that 2-year hiatus with the injuries, he got married. And there was a lot of ring rust in his last fight. I mean, he won by split decision in his last fight. So he didn't look good. He got hurt in that fight. So will that happen again? I think it's possible. I got Pacquiao winning by decision. I think Pacquiao's going to do enough to win this fight, just because of, I think, like I said, the hand speed. He's gonna have to cut the ring off from Thurman. Thurman moves a lot. Thurman moves a lot with his power. Right hand, left hand. If Thurman can establish the jab and use that right hand power, he should be able to beat Pacquiao. But Pacquiao's so smart, and I think as we know with athletes, when they get older, they get a little smarter. Pacquiao just cannot leave his hands down, or he will get dropped. So, but I think Pacquiao's gonna frustrate Thurman those first 4 or 5 rounds. Thurman probably won't be able to get off, and Pacquiao's going to just keep bringing that pressure. That's one thing Pacquiao does, is bring that pressure. Now, Thurman brings the pressure to him. It's a possibility he can win, but I think Pacquiao, he adjusts, he comes right at him, and if Thurman's too careful, Pacquiao's just going to keep bringing that pressure and those angles of punches. So I got Pacquiao by a decision. It's going to be close, but I got Pacquiao by decision.
Okay. And it's kind of been a little bit mixed in the chat room here. We've seen some people say Thurman, some people say Pacquiao. But one thing I will say is I believe it's going to be entertaining. I mean, we haven't had an entertaining fight, I think, in probably a couple of months at least. You had that fight with who was that? Wilder versus whoever that guy was. They ended up getting knocked out in the first 5 seconds of the fight. And then you had, I don't know if you heard about this, you had a guy last night that got knocked out the ring head first. I don't know what the fighter's name was.
I did see that.
So when people say boxing is dead, it's not dead. It's just a matter of, in my opinion, watching the fights, or finding the fights that are good. And if it's on TV, that doesn't always mean it's good, but there's good boxing that's out there. And I think this one will be definitely worth people watching. I don't think it's going to be a quick knockout either, so then you're going to get some entertainment, because it's not going to be one of those, in 5 seconds the fight's over with, why did I pay for this? Everybody's upset. And I don't think it's going to be that type of situation. So Much to look forward to, though. And either way, I think this is Pacquiao's last fight. I don't know how much longer you can continue, unless you want to have a Pacquiao-Mayweather elderly match at the senior citizen home, something like that. Unless you want to do that.
I don't want to see that again.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's going to pay for that.
I don't want to see that again because the Mayweather now. I watched the interview with Pacquiao. I think it was a couple of days ago, and I think he was on Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp's show, Undisputed, and they had him on there. I think they had both fighters, but they had Thurman and Pacquiao. But when Pacquiao was on there, he was talking about, it's up to Mayweather, but Mayweather's now been retired for almost 2 years now. He had that exhibition fight against Conor McGregor, which was not a fight at all. So Mayweather, and then I think he ended up fighting he fought a Japanese fighter in MMA overseas, but he knocked the guy out in the first round. So that was a big fight.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
No, he wasn't ready. He knocked him down 2 or 3 times, and then Mayweather just went there for that money. But it would generate money because of their names. But to go back to what you said about boxing not being dead, it's definitely not dead, as you said. It's just they just need more named fighters fighting each other, and that's the difference with boxing. They just need these guys fighting each other. I mean, the welterweight division is loaded. I mean, they got Errol Spence and Crawford and Pacquiao and Thurman. I mean, there's Sean Porter. I mean, that whole Garcia, that whole welterweight division is loaded. So they just need to fight each other. And I think if Pacquiao does win, or whoever wins this fight, they were talking about Errol Spence. Could be a possibility. I don't think either one of those guys want that smoke from Errol Spence. Man, Errol Spence is he's a different type of beast. Or Crawford either. Terrence Crawford's another guy. I don't think either of those guys want any of that. And Pacquiao said himself, "Here go now." But see, Pacquiao brings a lot of money. He generates money. He's still a big name. If he looks good against Thurman tonight, he's going to get another shot, another fight, a big fight. And he said all he wants now, which I'll give it to him at 4 years old. He said he'll fight everybody. He'll just line them up. I'll fight him. Even if he gets knocked out, he said, I want to fight the top guys. And I give Pacquiao a lot of respect, a lot of props. He's like, I'm going to go out there and just fight all these top guys. So, I'm pulling for Pacquiao, see what he does. If he does lose, he looks bad, he's definitely done.
Yeah. And I think what you don't want to do is start to stick around until you just start looking bad. You start looking bad, and people are like, he shouldn't be in there. Then you got people worried about him, his mental and all that kind of, that at some point you gotta let it all go. But it's up to Pacquiao. Whatever he decides to do, I think he's definitely got a career outside of boxing too. He's a representative, I believe, or he holds some type of office in the Philippines. So
senator. He's actually a senator.
Yeah. Wow. So I mean, the guy has stuff going on. It's not like, I don't think he necessarily needs the money. He doesn't seem like he's one of those type of guys that needs the money. So, I think it all depends on what he wants to do. But I'm looking forward to the fight.
Yeah, me too.
Shout out to Kesey, says he's back in the building. Appreciate you for stepping back in. So I wanted to also, since I got you on the line, and we got Courtney Harden on the show, frequent in the chat room. I want to say this live on the air. Thank you for every single time you come in the chat room, you put a comment, you go at it with some of the people in there. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Much love to you for that. RC says the promoters top rank Al Heyman are always at odds that prevents a lot of big fights from happening. Don't look for Crawford versus Spence anytime soon because of that. Wow. And he's
right.
He's got a good point. You have the people in the background. I think also the boxers too. I mean, they want to get paid. They want their money, but the promoters obviously have to come to the table to come to an agreement. But it's hard to see the boxing matches that we truly want to see even Joshua Wilder, man, I've been talking about this for I don't know how many years, at least probably a year at least, or a year and a half.